This is from the poem The Death of Arthur. King Arthur was feasting with his knights at Caerleon when he was served a summons by Emperor Lucius of Rome. Pay tribute or be destroyed. Arthur's response was to invade Europe and press his claim on Rome itself. He left England in the hands of his sister's son, Mordred. After many great victories, when Arthur was about to be crowned emperor, he was told of Mordred's treachery. Mordred had seized England for himself by raising a tremendous army of Saxons and Danes and Saracens of all kinds. Arthur sailed back to England, met and destroyed the Danish fleet that was protecting the coast, but his landing was blocked by wreckage. Arthur's greatest knight and kinsman, Sir Gawain, sailed his ship to the shore to the attack. They sallied across the sand, this small troop of men, setting upon the soldiers and striking their blows. Through shining shields they sheared the foe, shivering to shreds the shafts of shining lances, dealing dreadful blows with their deadly spears. In the dew-dampened ground, many dead lay. Dukes, dauntless nobles, newly dubbed knights, the doughtiest of Denmark were undone forever. Thus, our ranks in a rage rent apart mailcoats and meted to their mightiest matchless blows, thronging in the thick of them and thrusting to the earth, 300 at once of the hardiest warriors. But Sir Gawain, in his anger, could not hold himself back, and gripping a spear, he sprang at a warrior with a bright scarlet standard with spots of silver, and thrust through the throat of the thane with his lance. The spike of the spear point split from the force, and that savage strike sundered the man from life. That was the King of Gotland, a great warrior. His followers fled from the field thereafter and met the middle guard that Mordred led. Our men marched after, a misfortunate thing, for had Sir Gawain the grace to hold that green hill, his fame for this feat would have flourished forever. But Sir Gawain watchfully waited for his chance to wreak his wrath on the wretch that started this war. He marked out Sir Mordred amongst all his kinsmen, and then Sir Gawain was furious, and with a great will set a fine spear in pewter, and fiercely cried, "False fostered filth! The fiend take your bones! Fie on you, felon, in your false works! You shall be dead and undone for your dreadful deeds, or I will die this day if destiny wills it." Then his enemy, with a host of outlawed men, circled and surrounded our splendid warriors, which the treacherous traitor intended. Dukes of Denmark drew themselves forward, and leaders from Lithuania with legions of plenty enveloped our warriors with weapons at ready. Soldiers and Saracens from assorted lands, 60,000 men, suitably arrayed, swiftly encircled on 70 knights in sudden deceit by the salt strands. Then Sir Gawain wept from his grey eyes, in grief for the good men that he guided there, aware that they were wounded and wearied from fighting, in wonder and woe. His wits failed him, and then sighing he said with streaming tears, "We are beset with Saracens on all sides of us. I sigh not for myself, so help me God, but to see us surprised, my sorrow overflows. Be doughty today, those dukes shall be yours, for our dear Lord today dread no weapon. We shall end this hour as excellent knights, and go to endless joy with angels unblemished. Those Saracens will see to it, I swear by my troth, that we shall sup with our Savior solemnly in heaven, in the presence of patriarchs and apostles of fame, before the kingly countenance that created us all. Now on to those asses' sons. He who yields today while he is swift and not slain, or sound in his hands, may he never be saved or succored by Christ, but Satan will have his soul as it sinks into hell." Then grimly Sir Gawain gripped his weapon. Against that great horde, he girded for battle. Swiftly he straightened his silver sword chains and shouldered his shield. Shunning caution, raging and reckless, he ran to the foe. All the wounds of the warriors where wantonly he struck were wells full of blood. Then away he passed. Though he was woeful, he wavered but little, and in worship he wreaked the wrath of his king. He stabbed at steeds charging, so stern-faced knights, strong men in stirrups, stone-dead, rode on. He rent apart rigid steel and ripped apart mailcoats. No rank could arrest him. His reason had flown. Like unto a lion he lunged through them, the lords and leaders of the legions before him. Despite Gawain's woe, he wavered but little, and in worship he wreaked the wrath of his king, aware and willing to waste his life for his wounds and his woe. All his wits left him, and like a wild beast he lunged at the nearest, wallowed in the warrior's blood, then away he passed. So each foe knew his fate, and fell on his comrades. He moved to Sir Mordred amongst all his soldiers, met him mid-shield, and mauled him through it. But Mordred from the sharp spear shrank back a little, and was sheared through the short ribs to shy a handsman. The shaft shuddered as it shot through the shameful traitor. So the scarlet blood streamed down his legs and shimmered on his shin plates of shining steel. With a shift and a shove he shot to the earth. With a lunge of the lance he was laid out at length, lashed and wounded. Then Gawain leapt after and landed on his foe. His fury had grown so great. All grace left him. He drew a short knife sheathed in silver to slash his foe's throat, but sliced it not. The blade slipped and slanted off the mail, and then slyly the other man slipped his hand under, and with a trenchant knife the traitor stabbed him through the helmet and head, high into the brain. And thus Sir Gawain was gone. That good man of arms, without a hand to help him, and huge is the pity. Thus Sir Gawain was gone. That gallant knight who guided many others from Gower to Guernsey, all the great lords of Glamorgan and Glamorgan. Those gallant knights, having gazed on this grief, can be glad no more. King Froderick of Frisia, in fervent wonder, asked his false fellow about our great warrior. Do you know this knight in your noble kingdom? Of what kin did he come? Declare to me true, what man was this, with his mighty arms, with his griffin of gold, that is on the ground fallen? He has greatly grieved us, so God help me, ground down our good man and grieved us sore. He was the staunchest and sternest that ever wore steel, for he has stymied our soldiers and destroyed so many. Then Mordred was moved to make this answer. He was matchless among men, it must be said. That was Sir Gawain the Good, the most gallant knight and most gracious man that under God lived. He was the hardest of hand, the happiest in arms, the most courteous in court under the kingdom of heaven, and the lordliest of leaders while he lived on earth. Had you known him, Sir King, in your country of birth, his courtesy, his chivalry, his kindly works, his noble doings, his doughtiness, and his deeds of arms, you would have doled for his death all the days of your life. Then the traitor, contrite, tears streaming down, turned aside his face, would talk no more. He went away weeping, and bewailed the hour that his weird has been worked to work such woe.